Hey everybody out there in the YouTube universe, this is Mr. Movie, and in today's video we're going to be doing another top 5 list. If you watch my channel, you know I don't do top 10 lists by genre. I do the top 5 movies in my collection by a particular actor or a particular director. Sometimes they're topical, but today we're sticking with the script and it's going to be an actor. For the movie to be considered, obviously the actor has to be in the movie, but they also have to be either the main star or the secondary, maybe even third star. But the main thing is that they have to have their character be integral to the plot. They have to be so important that you couldn't have the movie without their character. So no bit parts, no, just quick guest appearances. They have to be a big part of the movie for it to be considered. Also, it doesn't necessarily have to be their greatest acting performance. It just has to be a great movie and they have to be great in it. So in this video, we're going to be doing the top 5 Gene Hackman movies that are in my collection. Gene Hackman is very underrated. He's had a really, really long career. He has a lot of great movies. This was a tough list to do because I really like Gene Hackman. He's very diverse, but I think he's very diverse, but he's always usually playing the tough guy. You know what I mean? A lot of times the tough guy with a heart of gold, but for the most part, just a tough guy. You know what I mean? And I think he's really, really good at it. And that's why he has so many great roles. So it was a pretty tough list to do. But I think I came out with my 5 favorite movies that he's in. And I think that you would probably agree too if you're a Gene Hackman fan. So let's get it started right away. And in number 5, we got The Enemy of the State. This is a really cool movie. It's a really interesting movie in that it's coming to fruition that this sort of thing is going on with our government, that they're spying on us. They're looking at us through our phones. Now, I'm not a conspiracy theory guy, you know what I mean? I believe in some conspiracies, but, not the more crazy ones. But they are tracking us through our phones, and, all kinds of our data and, who hasn't been on, say, Facebook and, they write a comment about something and 5 minutes later there's an ad for that thing you were just talking about. This movie was in the 90s and they were already talking about that. And it's a really cool action thriller. And him and Will Smith play great off each other. They hate each other, but they have a common goal. They're working towards it. And the government is hot on their case, trying to get them because he was a government guy, but he went rogue and he knows all their secrets, all their technologies. And him and Will Smith are trying to kind of clear Will Smith's name, but also kind of get Gene Hackman out of the underground that he's stuck in because the government is after him. The government's after both of them, really, and they're able to track them with all kinds of devices and satellites and all this stuff, and it's like one long chase. Really cool technology, great acting, great action, really good cast. And he's such a hard ass in this movie, you know what I mean? He really gives Will Smith the business. So it's a really cool movie, great story, and very, very entertaining. Coming in at number 5 is Enemy of the State. Coming in at 4, this was on my Westerns list. It was on my Morgan Freeman list. This is just one of the best movies ever made, and that's The Unforgiven. Again, in this movie, just a total tough guy, hard ass. But he's the bad guy sort of in the movie. He's the town sheriff who's just a complete asshole. He's there for law and order, but he pushes it way too far and he gets his just desserts. And it's a strange movie because he's the law, so you're supposed to be backing him, not the killers, Clint Eastwood and Morgan Freeman, but you kind of see that, he goes overboard, so you're rooting against him and find yourself rooting who should be the bad guys, the outlaws. So it's a very interesting dynamic in that way. A very interesting dichotomy, as my girlfriend likes to say. Shout out Amanda. So it's a really great story. A lot of cool action, a lot of good gunfights, but it's more slow paced and story driven because the characters are older. All three of the main characters are older. They had their heyday, and this is how it kind of culminates and finds itself in the end. And Gene Hackman is just, you despise him, but you kind of understand where he's coming from, which is usually what a good performance brings out. So one of the best Westerns ever made, number 4, Unforgiven. Number 3, this was on my sports list, and I believe it was number 1, and that's Hoosiers. I played basketball my whole life. It's probably my favorite sport, and this is a great story. It's a true story. He was the coach of a big program, a big college program, but he was so intense that he punched one of his players in the face and got pretty much thrown out of the sport. Got a second chance in a small Indiana high school, and in Indiana, basketball is religion. So he got a second chance from an old friend of his, and he took a team that was mid-level to lower level and took them all the way to winning the state championship, and their school had never done it. And it's a great story about second chances. It's a great basketball story. I remember we used to go to basketball camps every year in the summer. They would always show this movie because they wanted to teach you the fundamentals. And it's a really good story, and it's also it's heartwarming because they come together finally as a team at the end and pull off the impossible and all that sort of thing. But it's really a mental, psychological story because you're in the head of this coach, and you see how he brings these players together, and in turn bringing the players together brings the team together and brings the whole town together, who was pretty much against him from the beginning. And he pretty much changes everybody's mind and turns everything around because he's really strong-willed, and it's his way or the highway, but he's doing it for the right reasons, and it all turns out well in the end. And it's a really great sports story, and my favorite sports movie, and a great basketball flick. So coming in at number 3 is Hoosiers. Coming in at number 2 is a really, really important movie, Mississippi Burning. True story. He plays an FBI agent along with Willem Dafoe. You get that trope of the two cops who are from different worlds and don't get along and don't have different styles. They don't like each other at first, but they come together for a common goal. You have that whole thing, but that's a sidebar to what it really is about. And it's about these 3 civil rights, two white kids and 1 black kid. They go down south, and they get killed, and nobody could find their bodies, and the town sheriff and his deputies are all Klan guys, and it's a hard movie to watch, but it's a very important movie to watch because it's about civil rights. It's about how backwards we were especially in the South not too long ago. This didn't take place very long ago, and we still have reverberations of that in today's society. And he's really intense. He's about doing it his way. The other guy is Willem Dafoe is about doing it by the book. And when that doesn't work, he just kind of gives in to Gene Hackman, and Gene Hackman says, "We're going to do it my way, and that's how we're going to get results." And they end up finding the bodies. And they end up pretty much bringing down all the cops in the town, the people in the town who were involved, politicians that were covering it up, and pretty much bringing this case to the forefront of America. And pretty much it's like a mirror, showing America what's wrong and how we can change it. And it's really important. It's a really great movie, very entertaining, historical. It's a true story. But I keep coming back to that word important because the message of it and what ends up transpiring during the movie shows you that we haven't really come that far from that time, even today, with all the protests and stuff going on because of, police shootings and stuff. And a lot of them are racially motivated, and, it's still going on. It's not as bad as then maybe, but, if it's still going on, it's still bad. So, as an American and someone who believes that this country is for everybody, you really need to take a hard look at yourself, and you need to take a hard look at what's going on in the country and evaluate, how you feel about it, and talk about it and get involved and, try to make a difference, even if it's just among your peer group. Great performances, great cast, great acting, really important movie, and I suggest you should, if you haven't seen it, you should watch it. Mississippi Burning coming in at number 2. Coming in at number 1, this was also on my Denzel Washington list. Such a great movie, and that's Crimson Tide. I can't even tell you how intense the Gene Hackman versus all right, let me start this way. It's that whole thing of, black versus white, old versus young, old military, because it's the Navy, versus new military, the thought of how it's supposed to be. You have the old, crusty, military guy in Gene Hackman, who is in command of a nuclear submarine, and then you have the new guard of a different way of military thinking, of a younger guy who is Denzel Washington. And I was stammering in the beginning of this particular movie review right here, because it's almost, you have to see it. It's so great the way they do this in the movie, because it is, they're on a nuclear submarine and it's like code red, it's about to go down with Russia. And, are they supposed to launch or aren't they? Should they be following this order or shouldn't they? It's like a very intense military question between following orders and waiting to do the right thing and make sure the orders are correct. But do they have the time to think about that? Or is there going to be a nuclear strike? And it's about a choice being made between the two guys' ways of thinking about this particular dangerous situation. And think about it, it's all in a submarine. So, it makes you feel condensed and stuck, and you're in the situation with them. Like, you feel like you're on the ship, and which guy is right? If we listen to Gene Hackman's character and we fire off the nukes and we were wrong, we just may have started nuclear war. But if we listen to Denzel Washington's character and we wait, what if we waited too long? They launch and we lose. It's so intense, the battle between the two guys, the two characters, and they're so strong-willed and they have such belief in their position that it's just amazing. And two great actors going at it, really just going for it, and personifying these two sides of the argument. It's such an intense movie, so well acted, and such a great story. And it's one of my favorite movies. I've seen it a million times. It never gets old, and you're drawn in, and it's intense, and it won't let you go until the very end. Great movie. I suggest it highly if you haven't seen it. Number 1, Crimson Tide. For Gene Hackman fans out there, I know you want to kill me because I didn't put The French Connection. Now, I usually don't do honorable mentions, and I'm not doing that here. It didn't make the list. It's a great movie. It didn't make the list only because, to me personally, it doesn't hold up. It's an older movie. I have no problem with that, as you know if you watch my channel. I love black and white movies. James Cagney's one of my favorite actors. It's not that. It's just that the way it's filmed and shot, it just doesn't hold up. Now, his character, Popeye, not Popeye the Sailor Man, but he's a cop. And again, tough guy. Great character, really good story, one of the best chase scenes in movie history with cars, but it just didn't crack the top 5 for me in rewatchability and how much I love the movie, although I do love it, and it is in the collection. So it didn't make it. So I gotta just throw that in there for any Gene Hackman fans. So running down the list, number 5, Enemy of the State. Number 4, Unforgiven. Number 3, Hoosiers. Number 2, Mississippi Burning. And number 1 is Crimson Tide. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did and you like my other content, please subscribe. Hit that notification bell so when I drop new videos, you get alerted and you can check those out too. If you're a Gene Hackman fan and you have other movies I didn't name, let me know in the comments. If you have these movies I did name in a different order, we could talk about that too. If you like Gene Hackman, you like movies, you like my content, please hit like. Share with your other movie maniac friends. I would appreciate it. Spread the word about Mr. Movie NYC. Also, in a lot of my videos, I would say about 80% of them, I'm wearing all kinds of cool t-shirts that my partner in Futuristic Vintage, he has a website, futuristicvintage.net. That's futuristicvintage.net. You could order the shirts that I'm wearing. There's variations on them. There's different colors. You could, pick and choose. There's a lot of cool stuff on there. And, there's also a coupon thing where you can get a percentage off if you say it came from this video or any of my past videos. So check that out. With that being said, this is Mr. Movie signing off, and I will see you again next time at the Flicks.